я понял.
Все, Ваня?
Вы просто катаете или тренировку занимаетесь?
Ну,
Я
я
пока
пока в
сказал.
обычном.
Не, зашел,
Не
спросил,
знаю.
что тут Кристиану делают, и все.
Подождите,
Я
какая
в
тренировка?
план пока.
Ну вы же вроде в тренировках сидите.
Не
Да.
забыл,
Это
может,
хорошо.
закончил.
Кристиана, а тебя что, из первого полка выпрягли?
Я просто долго не играл, потому что был очень занят, да, и поэтому так получилось.
Ну вот, такое же.
А как сейчас идет полковой бой?
Не
А
пробовал.
полковые просто не запускаются, блядь.
Сейчас да, там проблема.
Почему не запускаются?
Да просто,
У них
блядь,
проблема.
не загружает. Он просто не хочет пускать бой.
Странно. Ну,
игра.
это глюк в игре или что ли?
Да. Ну, нет, это именно
Ужас,
то, что
какой ужас.
называется игра.
Кстати, Кристиан, у нас тут новый иностранец, вроде с Англии.
Он
Не,
откуда?
он полностью со
Он
штатов.
из Индии вроде.
А, не-не, он со Штатов, да, у него же оружие там тонну.
Да, челик. Он танкует,
Ну,
он
это здорово.
устраивает.
Это значит, у тебя сейчас не единственный западник в группе.
Но он это на английском шпарит.
Ну,
В основном.
на
На
английском
русском у
шпарит.
него сильно
На русском у
ломаный.
него все плохо.
Да.
Да?
Он умеет материться, это хорошо, я считаю. Мы его научили
Единственный
мат.
плюс, да.
Я только говорю, что стараюсь играть на русском для того, чтобы выучить язык.
Просто мы его научили просто только матом. Огромному количеству матов.
Нет,
на
такое,
русском.
такое не надо
Да, и
научить. Русский язык.
Мощных, стильных,
язык
жестких
богатый.
матов. Ну, согласитесь, в русском маты сильнее, чем в английском.
Не, они
Я
просто
согласен.
из акцента российского звучат злее, и все.
Мне кажется, мне кажется, у нас его, наверное, больше.
Да?
чем в английском.
Слушай, ты бы слушал, как там Ричард обосрал говном этого Славу, который Витя, который Артем.
Который слова КПСС, я понял.
Ну, короче, там вообще такие оскорбления жестокие были, только на английском единственное.
И вы не понимали, что он говорит, да?
Как будто
Но
я-
было очень много.
Не, мне там потом перевели, но я примерно понимал, что там прям жесточайшее что-то.
Не, на русском было бы подольше.
Серьезно, на русском там вообще
Он
было.
там говорил что-то типа, я приеду к тебе в Россию, засуну тебе вот...
О, это некрасиво.
Что это было? А, где он?
Это кара небесная.
Да кто вот так?
У нас в Бразилии люди изучают русский, потому что его считают богатым, литературным, славным. А как вообще пользоваться матом? Это никакую славу не принесет,
да,
я
нам
считаю.
Это нужно общаться с носителями русского языка, чтобы выучить мат. К сожалению.
Самое, что первое надо изучать в русском языке, это мат. Это он-
Да. Потому что русский мат это очень сильно, я считаю.
Я согласен.
А вот как Ричард, он же также изучает.
Видишь, он тоже, он уже вкурил,
Да.
что он говорит чуть-чуть. Он теперь даже нормально понимает чуть-чуть инфу. Он вообще от наших меня еще ни разу не разбомбил. Что я помню, у нас был один челик, который говорил, что типа, ну мне сказали, что типа
Боже!
брак.
Опять что ужали?
Меня по всем каналам покидали, помогите!
На том моменте, когда ты хотел сказать что-то.
Меня вроде меня уже все.
Все?
Вроде да, пока что.
Тебя кого-то взяли и зацензурили.
А?
Кого-то взяли и зацензурили.
Да открывайся тут. О, вкусняшка.
Ну, вроде я свободен, меня больше не будут выговаривать.
Как раб божий.
Позвал.
Не, они меня типа взяли и вытащили с этого канала.
Ну, я понял.
Это
Вообще
страшно.
невероятно. 2 выстрелов на одного танка и вообще ничего не произошло.
Он заколдован.
Броня у него очень тонкая.
Ну,
Если бы он попал, он бы, конечно, был бы в шоке.
Броня у него очень сильная.
Очень тонкая. Да, наверное.
Саня,
ладно.
я никуда не пойду, не пытайся.
В смысле, я с вами, блядь,
Но, к сожалению,
Не
какой-то
знаю.
кретин украл
Да,
мое
да.
убийство. Моих
Какой-то
очков.
кретин, какой-то
Правильно.
кретин засунул меня в канал «Пауковые бои», ничего ни о чем меня не
Меня
спрашивая.
тоже, блядь.
Нас заставят по полковые играть.
А чё они там говорили, чё они от меня хотели?
Ну, блядь, они хотели. А потом, типа, когда я сказал, что у нас сейчас турик будет,
Вероятно.
они такие, о, нас тоже возьмите. Я говорю, 3 на 3. И там такой 10 человек просит, о, нас тоже, блядь, 3 на 3. Давайте, блядь, это, приходи один, мы тоже один придем.
Да, мы тоже один будем.
А чё, ты
Всё,
освободился?
Турнир 3 на 3, там просто это.
Я пойду полковые посидеть,
Там
ладно.
вам сказал, это кошмар.
Подождите, а почему написано 55 минут у меня будет до турнира? А, вот,
Обновить
обновил
они.
10. Всё,
Это багованный сайт.
а что ты на чем самих?
БВМ, Б, Т-80Б и Т-80У.
Они...
Нихуя ты
Время.
крутой, а то, что там техника, блядь, Второй мировой войны, не знаю.
А, вот этот?
Мы уже все топ расхали.
А,
Вот,
блин,
конечно,
я думал, там еще один на топах, ладно.
Там как вчера.
Блин, сказал бы мне, шведов пошел столько выкачивать.
Ну что шведы, тебе советы нужны.
Ты бы успел?
Ну, я пару танков бы вывел стока.
А,
У меня
у тебя
потому
есть
что танки
танки, но они
стоковые,
в
да,
стоке?
они стоковые, все.
А что ты хотел?
Там черятик был, он, короче, он злой,
Злой дядя.
да. Там
Ну,
еще
потом,
ВКВ-42, это тоже злой дядя.
ЛКВ-91.
Ну, ради там
А,
будет.
ЛКВ...
Ой, это
Что-то.
не-
Не понял, что это.
Ну, у него
Это
типа
залупа.
камерники злые,
Это
Ну,
залупа.
ради будет играться.
сам такой.
Тут прям незаметно пойти.
Хотя против других зениток, может, ему... А тут вообще зенитки нужны, блядь, я хуй знаю.
Да, они там не нужны.
Может, там нет. Может, там нет. Самир, у тебя Су-100 есть?
Зашли в турнир, да, вдвоем. Ждать к ним, просто может не собрались играть.
О,
И шмишь вот тут, давай, заходим.
есть.
Кстати говоря, о мата, как вы понимаете термин скорлупа? Как я понял, скорлупа это типа быдло, да? Товарищи? Товарищи, вы куда пропали? Товарищи? Дайте мапу.
5-7, что там можно?
Товарищи,
Чё?
а где остальные товарищи?
Слушай, на 5-7 вот ту 2
Ой,
АЭС, вот,
блин,
кстати,
пока
очень
я,
хорошо.
пока я
всё.
смотрю чат, меня уничтожили.
Тут 2 АЭС здесь бы очень хорошо подошел бы на этих БРах.
Я тебе говорю, там техника, которую ты должен выбрать из того, что тебе дается. Т-3485, из первый, Т-3457, Як третий и Тушка вторая.
А, даже так?
Ну да. Что-то я забыл. Что-то хотел сделать, я забыл.
А, зарегистрировать нас, да?
Так что технику ставьте сразу. Посмотрите,
Уже.
какая там техника дается.
Ну как это посмотреть, блин? Там же не написано.
Написано. Турниры, мои турниры. Информация. О турнире, короче, нажимаешь, и там внизу тебе техника показана. Так. И карты какие будут.
Так, мы, так, по турнире. А, вот вижу, да. СБ2М, Як третий.
Секунд осталось. 36.
О, там ЛВКВ есть. Нифига себе, я лучше ЛВКВ возьму.
Ну, вам быстрее технику ставь. Лех, ты поставил, да, технику?
Да-да-да. Мне что-то нужно? У меня просто танковые реалистичные стоят. Или что-то нужно еще там нажимать?
Тебе приглашение придет.
Все ЛКВ. Стоять там ЛВКВ 91? Я просто что-то не понял.
Посмотрим.
Смотрите, пожалуйста, быстрее.
Жди приглашения.
Да. То есть, которая 87.
ЛКВ 91, Комет 1, Т-3485, шведы. Чериота.
ЛВКВ. 4В81, да?
Товарищ, кто-то хочет в группе играть? 4 точка.
О, присоединиться к турнирному бою. Принять приглашение.
Тебя пригласили еще?
Да, мы с сыном приняли.
Все на немцы, блядь. Грязные.
Слава богу, у меня ЛКВ прокачаны. Жмем готово, ребят.
63 не зашел. Блин, жалко КВ-122 нельзя взять, а? Я бы взял. Швеция. КВ-91.
Взял.
Это интересно. Переправа через Рейн. Кстати, карта будет.
Б-17.
Переправа через Рейн. А что там переправа через Рейн?
Алексей,
Что?
ты сейчас в турнире?
В турнире.
Забивай на турнир и идешь с нами.
Тут чисто одна капка будет или несколько?
Ну, фиг его знает.
Ну, если зальешь, то все, а если нет, то дальше. Турнир не беспокоит, там 12:07. Если они не зайдут, сейчас мы выиграем автоматически.
На автоматике, да. Ну-ка.
Посмотри там эти. Посмотри на каком геймдрайве. YouTube прослава там.
Вот там жбали.
Проклятие. Мне пришлось драться против 3 из этих заразей, и, к сожалению, никто не помог.
Чего?
Зараза, на 3 попыталась меня уничтожить.
Эти, арахис с этим, зефиркой и славой.
Хочешь
хотят
посмотреть
нас поехать.
партию? Идет,
Да, точно,
кстати.
Ты откуда
Сейчас.
знаешь? Денис.
М?
Откуда знаешь?
А они мне
Отличная
написали
партия.
то, что хотят от нас. А они все на Израиле, будут, кстати.
Ой, нет, нет, нет.
А как они хотят против нас? Это
Неправильно.
как-то можно сделать, чтобы они...
Они хотят против нас попасть.
Ну, это случайно может только если, да?
Да.
Угу.
Отсюда.
Да мы их разъебем же. Ой, так, что там, кому там? Чё, кого, чё, почем?
Ну, это победа, походу.
Мгм.
Хотите в команде играть?
Крис, мы турнир играем.
Eu acho que sim, viu, José Eduardo? Eu acho que sim.
У них чел зашел.
Принял. Прошу прощения, что за турнира?
Рандомные турниры в Астане.
Понял, понял.
Крис, можешь в другую комнату перепрыгнуть?
Ну да, обязательно.
Угу, спасибо.
Hello,
Hello. Who is that?
it's Varyak.
Ah, look who it is. It's been a little while.
Yeah. I guess we met during the invasion of the Nafa troll.
Yeah, there's like one dude that I interacted with who was kind of retarded. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Like, spent like an hour roasting him in VC. It was pretty fun.
Actually, a few days after that, I met another troll, but it was at another place, like in a chat. And basically
Yeah.
the same tactics.
It's honestly like pathetic how like it's just like the same exact like line, same exact like
Yeah.
structure of the conversation. I mean, it's all just very interesting, really uninteresting.
Yeah, actually, I just remember where I saw that. I remember that it was a conversation between a Brazilian who sadly served the AFU, the Ukrainian armored forces, forces of Ukraine. Yeah, AFU, and basically he picked up at the same line. Like when he was asked why he wanted to serve Ukraine, same pickup line.
Well, like it was all like we needed to protect democracy in Russia, as like some like imperial power. Is that what they went with, or what was the line?
I thought the one like about rape is maybe their favorite.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember seeing that at the beginning of the war. There was like some post on Reddit asking like, "Hey, have the rapes started yet? Is there footage of the rapes? Can I see the rapes?"
Yeah. Like
okay.
I don't even want like the guy to show me like a picture or something like that. But at least like tell me where it happened, like place, day, like at least give some like some
like
evidence.
June 1st on Robotina or whatever. Like, give me some kind of context here besides like, oh, it just happens. Like, okay.
It's always the same stupid lines.
Yeah.
Like I even remember how like some time ago, precisely 2 years ago, they used to say that they raped even boys, but they no longer say that. They are more careful now. They say like about raping girls, like they somehow changed their line.
Well, I remember they said old ladies too. That's a big favor, is old ladies.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's not dig into what the, AFU and their subsidiary units get into. I mean, let's not look into that.
There are some claims that Zelensky is now like considering peace treaty, but maybe it's just a show up. It's actually hard to know what he's planning, especially considering that.
I don't believe it.
Me either, especially considering that according to Ukrainian laws, he can't negotiate peace, like because he forbidden like even himself to negotiate with Russians.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a way for his opposition, his domestic opposition to remove him by accusing him of violating that law. I think that's possible.
Yeah, there are some claims that he might be like changed by people like Avakov, like the former leader of the SPU.
I've heard Budinov too. He's like the CIA's boy down in Ukraine, and he's somebody who is gonna be kind of a big deal after the war if he isn't killed before the end of it.
Something that actually made me surprised is that during the debate between Trump and Biden, like no word about the conflict. Basically, one of the most important subjects nowadays, like something that may even lead to a third world war, and like mutual accusations on like who slept with a prostitute or something like that. That was crazy.
I mean, the unit party's in agreement, man. Don't stop the war. Keep her going.
Do you believe
that's what's gonna happen?
Do you believe they will change Biden for maybe someone else?
They might. I mean, I don't know. Anything's possible at this point because of just how badly he. The debate was the moment when, like, normie Democrats got to see him unfiltered for the first time because they only consume like very doctored and like edited media, basically. So that's when, like, even like the retarded Democrats realized, like, oh fuck, like Biden is, not all there, which is what everybody's known for a few years now. Even before he was president, everybody knew he was a fucking mental incompetent, basically. Like, I don't know. So we'll see. I don't think the DNC will do it, though. I think a lot of Democrats want it to happen, but I mean, Biden's just American Leonid Brezhnev, man. I mean, that dude suffered, some debilitating strokes in the late 60s, early 70s, and was basically the chairman of the USSR for like a few decades after. Well, a decade after anyway, something like that.
Yeah, it's sad that he actually doesn't sign a paper without someone telling him what to do.
Yeah, I mean, Biden is, they want him in. A lot of people. There's a lot of people with their own little fiefdoms and little kingdoms in the American government, especially the intelligence services. They get to do whatever the fuck they want, and it's very good for certain people's business to have a president that, not have a president really, to have the different parts of the government work, kind of do their own thing.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, like late stage imperial decline, which you can see any kind of kingdom or empire after a certain level of rot set in. Once it's gotten big enough and powerful enough, it's not been challenged for long enough. People want to have their own little fiefdoms and carve away their own little slices of power. That's kind of what's happened. Like the CIA and the military, both in particular, are kind of doing their own things. And have been doing that for quite a while now.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting, I would say.
Wow, I'm done. Being pressed hard in War Thunder. Damn, I just lost my T-34.
Hell yeah. You're playing War Thunder 2 right now?
Yeah, it's actually funny.
Ah.
Second World War thanks to level up China.
Yeah, I'm playing it too. It's Sweden right now.
Oh, Sweden is cool.
Sweden's a good country. Yeah.
It's actually
They got a lot of like decent shit.
a lot of crazy machines they have.
And they're one of the best top tier nations too, which is pretty cool. You got something to look forward to, unlike something like America, which is just bad.
Also, do you know what? I often ask myself how many bottles, Absolute,
Oh my god.
someone drank before adding like Soviet tanks to Sweden. It's actually so crazy.
Yeah, they have some really weird designs that they do. The Swedes.
And actually very good German tanks, very good Leopards.
Second? I didn't hear you. Let me turn you up a little bit.
It's like STV or STR. Yeah, STR because it's Stridswagen.
Yeah.
I think that
The
122.
cheese wedge tanks, yeah.
Quite good stuff.
Yeah, they're really silly little tanks, yeah. I mean, France has some cool stuff too, but they're like very... You have to really know how to fucking play their shit, basically, or you're gonna have a bad time. Especially the Cold War stuff, they have a lot of really weird Cold War shit. Like all of the oscillating turret designs.
Warship is actually cool as well. Sometimes I try it, but not that much as tanks. Actually, even planes, I rarely play it lightly.
Mm. Second. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten a bunch of nukes with 8.7 France though. They're pretty fun.
Oh, it's actually funny when you play like the lowest levels. I remember that some time ago you could play like really low levels, like 1 dot, like 1, and even reserve vehicles. I don't know if they still allow that at simulation mode. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that was simulation mode.
Oh yeah. I don't play Sim too much. I've tried it a few times. Not really for me. It's really weird and weirdly balanced. I tried aircraft sim battles like with the World War II planes, and I have a VR headset, so I did VR with the joystick and all that, and it's really cool.
Wow.
Actually being able to like look around your cockpit and, you know, search for people and all that. Yeah, especially with some of the planes too, because they're really well. Well, some of them aren't, but some of the planes have really good interiors in the cockpit, so pretty cool.
Damn it, I'm dead already.
Ah. My team's stomping pretty good. It's just
Wow. I guess I
dying.
just saved myself.
What are you playing again?
Like Second World War, China.
VR.
Wow, someone's breaking my cannon all the time. Can't even shoot.
Breaching barrel torture, you know?
Like I was shooting a guy, he notes that I was trying to destroy him, and he got me now.
Which VR are you playing though again?
4-0.
Oh, 4-0, yeah. Yeah, especially when you're dealing with all the American tanks with stable flat. Because at the BR, they always go for your gun breach, or your barrel anyways. Especially being kind of like muzzle brake on there on the end of it. It's the first thing they go for.
I have a feeling that I'm actually in a weak team because like I just died and basically the whole team died together.
Yep. That's a lot of games, man. There's just some really dog shit ass teams that you run into. It's like, man, how are you people even like, you know, intelligent enough to open this game, man? Like, holy fuck.
Wow, I just spawned and I'm dead already. That's over.
Yep. It is over. It's time to quit.
Yeah.
That's something that's you develop as a skill pretty quickly in this game, is learning. This game's fucked. And I can figure it out in the first like 2 minutes of a match, 3 minutes of a match, like if it's gonna be a win or not most of the time.
I guess
Based on how the teams play.
I guess part of the problem are the so-called pay-to-play players. The so-called wallet warriors, actually.
Yeah.
There are many players who buy tanks, have no notion on how to play it, and well, start.
It's a
doing
successful
mistakes.
business model. They're making money.
Yeah.
Which is fine, I guess. I mean, you need to develop the game, and it requires a lot of resources to get some of the things people want and get it modeled the way they want it. But, it's whatever. I've been playing the game on and off for like 10 years now, so it's whatever.
I would say that War Thunder is maybe the most successful Russian game, like, developed lately.
I can believe it. It's they moved their office to Hungary before the war, but yeah, they're a Russian company.
Yeah, it's actually quite common because there are many companies in Russia that, in order to enjoy the Western atmosphere of business, usually move to Cyprus or maybe Luxembourg even. It was like a very famous company that worked with, how is it called? It's not Binance, but, well, let's say the financial sector. And I remember how they moved to Cyprus in order to promote their business abroad. I don't know if that also happens like in the United States, and the be honest, I'm skeptical that it even happens in Brazil. But the simple fact that like a company has to move to a smaller country in order to promote the business sounds a bit awkward, I think. Like awkward not from because of the company, but I mean the way that another countries treat this kind of business in the country.
Just how shit works in international business. Which is funny for Hungary because I think War Thunder provides something like 3 to 5% of their GDP.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range. Like they would, if War Thunder as a game stopped existing, I mean, they're gonna like have a fucking budget crisis over there.
Yeah, that's actually even has a name in politics. It's called too big to fail. Like when a company is too strong in a country, and if it fails, if it experiences bankruptcy, so the whole system collapses. But like a
I
video
guess that's
game,
a good thing for War Thunder, man. Fuck.
but like a video game like is too big to fail. It sounds actually funny.
Shit. Well, I guess they're gonna have War Thunder forever then. Might as well spend some money on it since it's never gonna go away.
War Thunder, as long as I know, now has its headquarters in Budapest, maybe, like in Hungary.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean,
if you read like the name of the CEO and most of the employers, like you clearly see Russian names, Russian last names.
Yeah, they're all.
as well.
I mean, yeah, the West doesn't really make good games anymore. With a few exceptions.
Yeah.
A lot of our shit is really gay and retarded here.
Actually, the best are maybe like old classics. Even if we take, for example, World of Warcraft, like which is quite old, I would say. Like GTA, also an old game. Like GTA was created in 2000s, maybe even in the 90s. I remember how I played. I started from the GTA 2. Now they have, I think that GTA 7 maybe or 6. They are now making. They still make games, but today there's another dynamics. Like many games are made to be online, and it's a game changer, I would say.
Well, it's just what's the term? Planned obsolescence, but in video games. There's a lot of what the big companies do, so they just churn out like the same reskinned slop over and over again and resell it, like the NBA games or any like the sports games really, like in general. It's just like the same retarded slop every year. That's how everything works in the West. We're at that point where it's just same retarded slop over and over and over and over again. All of our
today
media.
there's something else to ruin video games, like they are basically inserting woke in almost everything.
Sorry, say again?
There's something else messing up with the games now, like something additionally to ruin them. They're inserting woke ideology basically in every game.
Oh yeah. Which is why I tend to play, it's funny, like, the two games I play a lot are Russian. Tarkov and War Thunder, I just realized though.
Same.
But just something I didn't, plan on or try to do at all, just games I like.
Although there are some studios as well from like Eastern Europe that won't disappoint. For example, Warhorse,
Yeah.
the ones who created Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Yeah, there's I think it's a Polish game. If I remember correctly.
Just got destroyed by a T-34, like Finnish one. It was too fast, but like the spin or my turret was simply depressing. Really depressing stuff.
My
And
favorite thing in this
tangency.
game, man, is just to make people's turrets go into the fucking stratosphere. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's a really fun thing too. You can do at high tiers with like the Abrams in particular for shooting at it. If you have a good round, like the Object 292s, 152 millimeter sabos. if you aim in the right spot, you can penetrate the front of the turret, go into the blast door for the ammunition in the turret, and then cook off their whole ammunition load. Their whole tank will just explode, basically.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
They fly really high, especially during at the World War tanks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Abrams, I mean, it's just... I mean, and War Thunder and in real life, they're just really just not great tanks at all. Big, they're fat, they're expensive.
Talking about Abrams,
Got too
what's
much gasoline.
Oh, it's now 11.3. Merkava 11. I still remember when Merkava was, I think, that 10 previously. It was actually quite nice.
Yeah. And that's the problem with the Abrams too, is that it just has a lot of weak spots, and from the tanks I've seen from army units where I know people, very few, if any, of their tanks are actually equipped with any like ERA. So you're having tanks just with, you know, metal side skirts and no roof protection. I mean, the way they're equipped and deployed is really outdated. Which is going to get a lot of people killed when they try to use those tanks in combat when that day comes.
What is the most recent Abrams? It's Abram X, right?
That's the new like next gen prototype, basically. The SEP V3 is the current one that's in production. That's the most advanced variant.
Do you believe they will produce like at least 100 of them? Because like I was thinking, such things are very expensive. But after the intense use of drones, I don't know how effective they are going to be in the future.
I mean, as long as you disable a tank, you don't actually have to fucking kill it, you know, because a disabled tank is just going to get abandoned, basically right away.
And quite often be destroyed by the crew in order to not allow it to fall at enemy hands.
Yep, the crew will sabotage it, or you know, after like a drone hits it, they'll bring up like a guy with a an ATGM, or one of the first Abrams killed in Ukraine was actually killed by a T-72B3 with a reflex anti-tank missile, like tube launch ones out of the main gun.
Wow.
And that's the fundamental problem with the Abrams too, and you know, I think that's a big weakness with how America has decided to equip these things, is that the ERA that we have just kind of sucks. We don't use it much, basically. The ARAT ERA. It doesn't really necessarily that sucks. We just don't really use much of any ERA, and unlike the Russians, we haven't invested much into that technology.
Oh, but still there are like good anti-tank weapons for infantry, I guess. Javelins maybe not the best, one of the best.
Yeah, the Javelin's very overrated, yeah. I mean, the Ukrainians just barely use it, if at all.
They barely use it? It's surprising me. It's quite...
if you look for videos of it, I mean, there's like not very many I can think off the top of my head. Most of what they use are RPG variants. These in-laws, when they had them, they didn't get a ton of in-laws though, but they liked them a lot because they actually work better on the Javelin. The problem with the Javelin is apparently the tracking is not very good on it in combat conditions, and just from like the system itself, it takes like something like 3 to 5 minutes to set up, and for the thermal unit to cool down on it, so you start tracking targets. And by that point, I mean, if you're, you know, there for 3 to 5 minutes, I mean, your target might already be gone. And part of the problem too is that, like, I've seen, especially early in the war, and the middle part of the war, I mean, a lot of the units who were issued javelins weren't even trained on them at all. Like, there was this post I saw where these Russian soldiers had captured a javelin crew's like equipment and killed them, and started looking through their shit, and they took a picture of the guy's phone, and it was all like some like stupid fucking marble show, and like how to use javelin, how do I use javelin, how to turn on javelin, basically. Which probably didn't help his effectiveness at all if the crews you're giving it to don't even know how to use it properly. And would be better suited with something like an RPG, which is like super simple to learn how to use. You can teach a guy to use an RPG in like 2 minutes flat. Here's how you fucking arm the trigger, here's how you put the rocket in, here's how you arm the warhead, and that's all I need to know.
Yeah.
Which has been Ukraine's problem for the whole war, is that their military is very after the first 6 to 8 months, when they basically lost a lot of their experienced personnel at the front, they've just been replaced by like random like civilians basically who are barely trained. So giving them all this sophisticated Western weaponry is not really helpful when you're using a conscript army. It's got like 5 to 20 days of training, roughly, depending on the soldier. I think all those reports of units in like Bakhmut, for example, getting guys, or like Avdiivka or different cities, and they're like, hey, these guys are like not even trained at all. We're having to train these guys like, 10, 20 kilometers behind the front line, then send them into combat, and we're spending weeks doing that as opposed to putting guys straight into combat.
I think basically every major conflict have shown that like the most sophisticated is the weapon, like less effective it is. Like even the Second World War, if we take tanks, for example, like
the Panther,
it was actually quite interesting. A very good concept, and some even consider it as in the first MBT. But it was too complex to be produced, and it was one of the reasons for its lack of effectivity in German side.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the Panther got better as the war went on, but initially at Kursk, I mean, they were pretty shitty. They just kind of broke down a lot and didn't really do too much.
Like a few weeks ago, actually a few days ago to be more exact, I don't know if you watch Dasha Models. Dasha Models is a Russian girl who does like modeling of tanks. She's Russian, and the point is that she showed some new tank models. They are actually quite interesting, but I don't know if the materials for that will be available, as well as every component needed to make like a super tank. Poland actually developed a quite interesting concept, but I don't know if it's going to be like viable for production. Sometimes
that's the problem with a lot of Western doctrines, that they don't take into account the fact that your average soldier in an actual war is going to have a much lower level of training experience than what you have right now. Our military is not really prepared to replace losses like that. That's not something they think about doctrinally. Whereas Russian and Soviet doctrine preceding it was very much focused on the reality that we're gonna have a big war. It's gonna be involving a lot of casualties on both sides, and we need to be able to replenish that, even if it's like a lower level of quantity, lower level of quality than we had initially at the start of the war. We still need to replace that and have cheaper alternatives that are easier to manufacture on a short-term basis. So it's just it's gonna be bad if the West does fight Russia at some point, because we're already running low on all that shit that that we need for that kind of a war. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Okay. Let me comment with the damn chopper. Got smoked.
So yeah, it's gonna be a fun next 5 to 10 years to see how that goes.
Yeah, you can do something effective, but like the materials will always be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see seeing Europe try to fight in an actual war with how just chronically unprepared they are.
You know, getting somehow prepared. Like it said that conscription is returning in Europe.
Yeah, I mean,
they are going
that's
to
good,
prepare
though.
the proper soldiers for that. That's another question.
I mean, that's good and all to bring back conscription, but it doesn't really matter if you don't have the ability to equip those people properly. And if the only thing you
Yeah.
can provide them is small arms and, like, you know, basic anti-tank weapons like an AT-4, those units are really not going to be effective, combat effective in any way. I mean, it's the same plan Germany had with the Volkssturm, where they just equipped them with whatever leftover weapons they had laying around and had them work as like a territorial defense unit, which is what Ukraine's doing right now. And those units tend to take really disproportionate casualties whenever they have to engage in battle, even if it's defensive. That's what happened at, I believe, Apoie-nos, in that area when that battle happened. They put the territorial defense units on the flanks of the city, and the Azov and all the experienced guys in the city itself, and the territorial defense guys just broke and couldn't handle the heat, basically. Hold on a second.
Okay. Well, it's not easy to play against Soviet tanks in this game. Like, they are really fast. Soviet team this time.
We are so back.
Good. I was saying, like, it's not easy to play against Soviet teams in this game because their tanks are really fast.
Yeah.
They quickly stone you, like, especially in small maps.
Oh yeah. It is definitely not easy whatsoever. I'm fighting on Vansula Rhine right now and dealing with some assholes.
German tanks are quite interesting. Like, every time I look
fucking
at
hell.
them, they are basically as big as a train.
Hey, German tanks are either really good or really bad. I mean, there's not a lot in between with those guys.
Talking about German tanks, like in real life, it's interesting how looks like they showed more proper to Ukrainian terrain than Abrams itself.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't require that much maintenance as Abrams, for example.
The Leopard 2s are actually pretty good tanks, and the U.S. should have adopted a Leopard 2, but we just decided, like, no, we're going to do like what everybody else does in NATO and be selfish and have our own indigenous design instead of having an actual standardization, basically. Because everybody's like, oh, NATO's so standardized, everything's the same in NATO. Like, no, not really. You know, a lot of NATO equipment is very different. And purposely so, because nobody wants to give up their defense industry, which is kind of a big flaw. Like the only thing that's standard on NATO tanks is the gun normally, which is good, but you know it's not ideal.
Just got smoked by a Swedish tank.
Yeah, British tanks are pretty ass. The Challenger is not a good vehicle in real life.
Volkswagen
But,
122.
I mean, the Russian tank is much more standardized. I mean, they have the similar or the same, you know, drive wheels and sprockets and different things, and all the guns are the same, and for the most part, for all the newer tanks, anyways. And logistically, they're in a bit better of a spot.
Yeah. Well, what about the Armata? Do you believe that they will keep developing that? Like, I saw some reports that Armata, well, it was in red effect. Like, I would say that very serious questions about how effective is its armor.
I think the Armada is fine. I mean, it's a good concept of a tank. It's just a question of what's it going to look like when it's in service. And a lot of the complaints about the Armada are things that are true of any other tank. I mean, like the thin side armor. I mean, yeah, there's no modern MBT that has particularly thick side armor. It's just not like a practical concern, especially when you have ERA to cover it against most threats.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of, I think, kind of like a lot of moot points when it comes to Armada. I mean, it's like, yeah, okay. It has ERA coverage in most of the tank. Yeah, the side armor is not designed to stop fucking Sabo rounds. Duh. I can't remember what the other complaints were about it, but I mean, one of them was that the, I guess like the gun is not like well enough protected, but that's something that can be upgraded, and two, not something that, like, you know, she talked about in his video, Red Effect, that it doesn't really matter if the gun is like super well protected, as long as it's protected against like artillery fragments and smaller weapons. I mean, it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah, concerning the gun, I have to agree. Like, no tank focus on protecting the gun, because if you